I don't know about you, but for me as a busy parent, I'm all about easy ideas that we can fit into the flow and daily rhythm that we already have that support our children's development. So that is why I'm so excited to be sharing with you today my top 3 tips for this magical thing that we can include in our daily lives called reading to our toddlers. Hey, if we haven't met before, my name is Holly. I am a pediatric occupational therapist and mum. I'm also the founder of Playful Pod, which is my play and child development membership community. I release new videos every single Tuesday, so if you would like to receive toddler tips on Tuesdays, make sure to hit that subscribe button and like this video. But before we get there, I did want to let you know that my membership community, Playful Pod, is currently open. So you can check out the link to join us within the pod down below. So reading, how does this actually support our child's development? There was a study done a couple of years ago which looked at the difference in the amount of words that children hear that are read to regularly compared to children that are not read to regularly. And what they found is that children entering kindergarten, so children around age 5, that have been read to every single day, so let's say 5 books a day is one of the statistics that they used, would have heard on average around 1.4 million words more than children that hadn't been read to regularly. But if you read your child 1 book a day from around age 1 to around age 5, they calculated that it would be somewhere close to around 300,000 words more that they would hear than if you hadn't read to them. So what this means for us as parents is that we know that supporting language development, not just meeting the milestones of language development, but really supporting our children to have a rich vocabulary, not just so that we can put V in so that they have words, but that they can interact with the world and use this rich vocabulary in their play, is really powerful. It's a really amazing thing that we can gift them with, especially in this time when they are like sponges for absorbing language. So reading is a fantastic way to kind of bake that in. It's not something that you have to add to your to-do list. If you have reading or quiet time or settling time before bed already as part of your routine, it's really easy to fit reading into there. And as a parent, you may have experienced that 5 books doesn't even feel like a lot all the time with toddlers. Now, I'm not saying that you have to read 5 books. If you read 1 book, feel really good about that. But it's something that they often are really wanting, and it makes it a lot easier for us as parents to be supporting this development in that kind of baked in natural way. It's much more than that. Actually, reading has been shown to also develop concentration because your child is sitting and really listening to what you're saying. It develops their spoken words because they're hearing more words, but it also can support their development of interpreting what they're hearing. It also supports impulse control because as they are building that concentration, it kind of works on a scale with impulse control, which is something in the toddler years is definitely relevant. It's not to say that if you read like 17 books a day that your child is never going to hit another child. Don't jump there, but it is something that supports the natural progression of their brain development of impulse control. And it also plays a huge part in their play because what happens in stories is that children learn like the story, right? And they learn an idea of storytelling. And we then see this transpire into their play when they're taking the story that you just read them and they're playing it out with their dolls, or they're taking part of it and they're elaborating it and creating it into a different way. And it also really works on that symbolic thinking, which is so foundational for language. It's so foundational in creativity. So all around, this is a wonderful thing that we can be gifting to our children in these little years. So let's start out with 3 tricks or tips that we can be using to really engage our toddlers in that reading time. Now, I want you to take off of your mind the idea that an engaged child during reading time means a very passive sitting child who's looking directly at you and speaking the book as you say it. Each of our children are different. Your child might be listening to a book while they jump up and down next to you. They might be listening to a book while they sit in front of you. That's okay. Let's meet them where they're at. But these 3 tricks, I think, are going to help you engage them, help them be interested in the story, and help you feel like you're not reading to the walls. So the first one is to use books with rhythms and rhymes. I personally love this even from an early age. Actually, The Hungry Caterpillar was the first book that I ever started reading to my toddlers. And I know for lots of people that sounds a bit long, but because it has so much repetition and so much rhyming in it, it does really engage your children, and it also really helps them to start remembering the story that you're reading. So I have the Hungry Caterpillar here. You can see ours is like well worn down from overreading. But on every single section, every fruit that it goes through, it's saying, but he was still hungry. So on Tuesday, he ate 2 pears, but he was still hungry. On Wednesday, he ate 3 plums, but he was still hungry. And as you're like repeating what you're saying, your child is getting involved. Like they can easily remember, but he was still hungry, and then they feel like they're engaging in the story. Another great way is to have rhymes within the story. So Gruffalo is another huge favorite of ours, and if you know Julia Donaldson, you'll know that she really is fabulous with this rhyming. So for example here, on went the mouse through the deep dark wood, a snake saw the mouse, and the mouse looked. And often you'll find even very young toddlers, even before their second birthday, that they're already like building those pathways of rhyming in their mouth, which is one of the foundational steps for early literacy. So they're hearing wood, and then they automatically say good. So when you're leaving them that time, they're interacting because they're picking up on that rhyming within the story. And her stories are just fabulous because every 2 sentences rhyme. Where are you going to, little brown mouse? Come and have a feast in my log pile house. Everything rhymes so nicely, and it's a great way to engage your child in that like rhythm and rhyming of the story. And what you may find is also that they start remembering the actual whole story according to the rhythms and the rhymes of these small sentences. Another great way to engage your child, especially for younger children, so let's say children under 2 years, is to have them facing you when you're reading. So you're looking at them and you are holding the book up for them. And this allows them to also see your facial expressions, which can engage them, and also see your mouth working as you're talking. And this is great for also letting them process what you're saying to them. And this is a fun way to also do books that you are pointing to. So let me put it over here. Like this book is all about colors. So we'll be saying, where is the duck? Here is the duck. There he is. Quack, quack, quack. Where is the lemon? Oh, it's sour. There's the lemon. Where are the shoes? Toof, toof, toof. Those shoes are walking. So you'll be engaging them, and you don't have to just say one word. You can even make a story out of the colors if you want to, or you could say, where is the car? And they can point it. But having the book open in front of them can really engage them in that active listening. Another way to do that is to use flap books. These are great, and you can open the flaps and then say what's inside, but they're also looking at your mouth and looking at you as you're doing it. And these are easier to do this front-facing reading because there's less words, so you don't have to remember the whole thing. Now, I want to know from you, before we get into the third tip, what your favorite books are at home right now. So leave me a comment below, your favorite book that your toddler is asking you to read on repeat at the moment. And also I want to let you know that in the link in the description box, I have a link there for an article that I wrote according to age groups, so 1-year-olds, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and some of our favorite books that we've loved in these age groups. So you be sure to go and check that out. There may be a few Eric Carls and a few Julia Donaldsons there because they are definitely in the favorites book section. You can also, as you're engaging in this front-facing reading, use books that have actions. Like this is From Head to Toe with Eric Carl, by Eric Carl. I am a seal and I can clap my hands. Can you do it? And you're front-facing, and they're really getting involved in that listening and being active in the story and in the book and in what they're hearing. We also love this Goodnight Moon because it has a little mouse that features in like some of the pages. My kids have loved this. So we read the section of the page and then they have to find the mouse, and they just love it. And you can also point out different things in the page. So as you've said the story, then you're saying, okay, and who can find the elephant? And everybody has to look for the elephant. Who can find the socks or the mittens? And that kind of questioning and really getting them involved in the reading process is great. So the third tip is to extend the fun of the books. So don't just leave reading time or what they've heard in a story to that quiet time that you're going down before bed or whenever it is that you do reading, but you can have fun with the topics. We have had some of our favorite dress-up costumes around characters from books like the Gruffalo, some also of our second language books. We've had so much fun in making costumes and letting them then act out the story from the book that they've learned. You can also use foods that are related to something that you've read in the book. Like inside of Gruffalo, they talk about scrambled snake. So we always do this with food. If we're having scrambled eggs, we have scrambled snake eggs. We have they have something there about Gruffalo pie. So we also have like our apple pies, our Gruffalo crumble. So involving the food elements of a book into the food that you're eating can be a great way to like extend that excitement and that engagement in stories. You can also use theme stuff around the book. So one of our favorite examples in how we've done this is using balloons to dip in paint and paint out the hungry caterpillar, because it is those like beautiful little circles. And Eric Carle, obviously in the graphics, there's always this like beautiful mix of colors in all of his books. So doing like a paint time, and of course if you know me, you know that I wouldn't do it in terms of activity that it has to come out right and that we're gonna like put it on a board. It's totally fine that it just gets messy, but you know, the concept is there and they know that they are engaging in these colors just like the book that they love. So using play around your books is a fantastic way to, again, extend that learning. Now, as I said before, you can find in the link in the description box, firstly, the link to sign up to Playful Pod, which is closing in just a few days, and also the link for some of the books that we have loved for those age groups of 1, 2, and 3-year-olds. So I will be seeing you next week. If you haven't already, make sure to like and subscribe to my channel so you can get the toddler tips on Tuesdays.